योगीराम सूरत कुमार, योगीराम सूरत कुमार, योगीराम सूरत कुमार जय गुरुराय।
भगवान श्री योगीराम सूरत कुमार की
जय।
सर्वं योगीराम सूरत कुमारार्पणमस्तु। Now before we offer our today's prayer, some people have raised questions regarding some topics. Now the first one is, one came, there are many, I'm only talking about one. He came and said, look, I recently started going to the temples. I was drawn to God. I started to chant the name. I entered the spiritual life. I heard so much about it and I was drawn to this. But then somehow, coincidentally, there seems to be suffering after suffering at home. So much so that people around are making fun of me, saying that it's only after you started to worship God with intensity that these sufferings happen. What kind of worship is this? And I'm unable to answer them. Why is it? All I want to say, from what I heard from Bhagwan and others, other great souls, that the whole of our life, even as we are born out of the womb of the mother, has already been drawn by the divine, designed by the divine. Everything is preordained according to our past karmas, the good ones and the bad ones. And even the body, how beautiful we are or how ugly we are, whether we are handicapped or healthy, whether we are born in a poor family or a rich family, everything would depend upon this blueprint of our life, which in turn is based upon the relentless law of karma. So whatever sufferings that you have to go through in this life are based upon your karmas of the past life, past janmas, past births. They have nothing to do with your present engagement in efforts towards God. Do not think it's because you've just started entering into spiritual life that you are inviting these sufferings. They have nothing to do with them. Your present life will be the basis for your next life. Now the sufferings that you go through must teach you something. Whatever we give to people will surely return to us at some time or the other in life. And most probably at our most vulnerable moments. If we give love to people, love will come back to us at some time. If we give only irritation, harsh words, abuse, it is misusing the power of speech given by God, a precious gift. With the result, you may be born dumb in the next birth. The power of speech will be taken away from you. God has equipped us with precious qualities, comforts, the air to breathe, water to drink and food to eat, and a mind to think of God. That is the purpose of life. To attain God, but then to attain God is not in our hands. The next best is to remember Him as much as we can. And that's why the Nama is prescribed. Remembering the name is remembering God, and remembering God is living in God. So our whole life, as I used to say, is a finished movie. I remember one of the sayings in Tamil by a great master from Sri Lanka. Ellam mudinda kadai. Whatever is to happen in this life is already over. Meaning, the blueprint has come out only to unfold from moment to moment to moment of our life, be it as joy or sorrow. So let us make sure that it has nothing to do with our present sadhana, present remembrance of God in any way that suits us. But one thing, even as Bhagavan gives us the effect of our past karmas, the good or the bad, especially the bad, it is at once clearing the bad karma. That's one advantage. The other is he also puts some blessings in that. It gives us a push towards God. The sufferings have been designed specially and specifically for your spiritual growth. It is at once the effect of your past bad karma and also a blessing to push you towards God. So if you learn to look upon every suffering as a gift of grace from God meant for your spiritual life, your spiritual evolution, it most certainly is a blessing. And you should be grateful to God for it. This is what Bhagavan Shri Yogi Ram Sarit Kumar reiterated. Now, the other question is, what about the indications that we find in nature? Like when you want to start a good work, you want to do it the auspicious time so that it would be very successful. Now when you start from home for the work, there are indications which are not welcome, not conducive to the work that you are going to perform. Then you are put off, you feel upset. And again there are other indications, good indications to the nature's way of telling you that your work will be successful. The nature, the whole nature responds. It is true that they have a place in the scheme of things. You find in the Puranas like Ramayana, Mahabharata, the other scriptures, the mention of such indications from nature about the work being successful or not. It is true, they have a place, but then it also depends upon your faith in God, your faith in the Guru, your faith, your determination to see everything as grace of God. If you have taken refuge at the holy feet of a great master and you are chanting his name, or you are chanting the name of God, and if you have absolute faith in the name of God, there is no need to bother about these things, because the depth of your faith, the depth of your devotion would overcome or mitigate the effects of the karma. The Guru's grace is there, which is most powerful, and before that, nothing else can hold. There is an incident in the book of Sri Janardhanan that once when he started from Nadar Lodge to have darshan of Bhagavan at Chandigarh Street House, and just when he came out, a cat ran from the right side to the left side, across. He was a little put off because it was a bad omen. He was hesitant, and then he overcame that and came over to Bhagavan. And then when he mentioned it with a certain anxiety, Bhagavan heard it very seriously. And then he asked question after question. Oh, Janardhan, a cat ran across. What color was it? Was it black or white? Janardhan, Sri Janardhanan mentioned it, and then Bhagavan asked, did it go from the right side to the left side or from left side to right side? Now, very alarmed, Sri Janardhanan answered, from right side to left side. The way Bhagavan was questioning him in all seriousness seemed to add fuel to the fire of his anxiety. Oh my God, something terrible is going to happen. This is a very bad omen, and Bhagavan is really concerned. So it sure indicates, these indications matter. He was very worried, and he was agitated. And Bhagavan, he went into deep silence. For nearly 45 minutes, he kept silent, and those 45 minutes were moments of deep concern and anxiety and agitation for Sri Janardhan. He thought, okay, something very serious. And you see Bhagavan's face. And suddenly Bhagavan came out of his silence, looked at Sri Janardhan and said, Janardhan, you said it was going from right side to left side? Yes, Swami. There must have been some rat on the other side, that's why it ran. And then he burst out laughing. You see how the Guru relieves people from their problems. Sri Janardhan says, after the thunderous laughter of Bhagavan, and that went on for quite some time, he joined the laughter, and he says from that day onwards, the whole question of indications from nature was wiped out for him forever. So when you have taken refuge at the feet of a great master, a very powerful master, you have nothing to worry about anything, you have nothing to fear. And Guru's grace, the overflowing Guru's grace is above all this. But if you do not have any such refuge or such faith or such determination to see everything as grace of God and as progress, then you better observe and do accordingly. So it all depends. When you were standing under a huge banyan tree spread out, protecting you from the sun, there is no need for an umbrella. So it all depends. And then there are people who ask me often that they had belonged to one group and observed the injunctions according to the master of the group, and then at another time they had to change over to someone else or something else, or some other guru, or some other faith. Is it all wrong? How do we reconcile this contrasting stages of life? I remember reading in Sri Punjaji's life, I've already mentioned this, maybe more than once, that when he expressed his concern that for 25 years he had been chanting the name of Krishna and very devoted. He also had darshan of Sri Rama, and he himself was Radha at times. And Krishna appeared and played with him. All that, but then when he came to Tiruvannamalai, after Sri Ramana Bhagavan appeared to him in his house, then he knew the calling, and then he promptly reported to Bhagavan Sri Ramana in Tiruvannamalai at his ashram. And then when he came to know about the state of pure being, the pure awareness, the state beyond all that appears and disappears, he regretted having spent so much time on worship of a personal God. But Sri Ramana Bhagavan said, you know what he said? He said, when people come from one country to the other, they travel by plane, and then from Delhi to Chennai, they take a train, and from Chennai to Tiruvannamalai, they take a bus perhaps or a taxi, and then from the bus stand to Ramanashram, a bullock cart. And then at the entrance of Ramanashram, they jump down and walk the distance to the meditation hall. And once they arrive at the feet of the Holy Master, even that movement is stopped. Now, can we say that any of this is misplaced or to be forbidden? At the time when you travel from one country to the other, the plane was necessary, absolutely necessary. You could not have done it by any other means. And again, the travel from Delhi to Chennai, in those days, whatever is necessary at any stage of life happens automatically by a special arrangement by the Divine. The Divine keeps on arranging things for us. A scene after scene after scene, the Divine spontaneously is arranging according to the blueprint of our life, which is based upon our past karmas. So each one stage, the first stage led to the second stage, the second to the third, and the third to the fourth, and each one fitted well in that part of life and was necessary for the journey. So in the life's journey, whatever happens, that's why Bhagavan said, whatever happens at any moment is the best that can happen to you at that moment because it's willed by God. Everything happens according to the will of God, and whatever happens is necessary for our spiritual growth, and therefore it should be looked upon as a blessing from God. So, let us learn this fact that our lives are being run by the Divine according to His design, according to His will, and all that we have to do is learn to take it as it comes, whatever life brings, be it a joy or sorrow, as it flows. Accept everything as the will of God and as a blessing from Him, because it's truly so. And be grateful to Him for that. This is what Bhagwan Yogiram Saratkumar kept insisting upon. Whatever situation Father places us, we have not only to accept it as grace of God, but be grateful to God for it. So, if we know what the life is all about and the purpose of life, we would begin to see the subtleties that are involved. So there is no need to get anxious about anything. No matter what you will, what you wish, finally what happens is only His will. So there is no doubt at all. If you switch over from one guru to the other, you have to remember that all great masters are one truth, one divinity. As I used to say, the content is the same, but the containers may look different. Sometimes some people have one name at home, another name at the office, an official name they call it, and a pet name at home. Whether people call you by pet name or the official name, you know that you are being called. So the Divine knows whichever name you call it, whichever way you worship it, whichever form, whichever name. The Divine knows that it is being worshipped, and there would be response. So there is no need to clog, confuse our mind with all kinds of doubts, but know that our lives are being run by the Divine already, whether you are devoted to God or not. This is the arrangement. Everybody's life, no matter how much vehemently you deny the existence of God, your life is still run by Him. You may not know it, and He smiles. So there is no quarrel. So remembering all this, the teachings of our Bhagwan, the teachings of Sri Ramana Bhagwan and other great masters, let us know that we already have so many blessings from God. And just remembering them and being grateful to God would lead to further blessings. Now we shall offer our prayer and beg our Bhagwan again and again, 1,000,000 times, because no matter how much we are assured that all these viruses have gone, there is still some doubt and there is still some news to disturb. We pray to you, Bhagwan, we beg you for your immediate divine intervention, for freeing the humanity from the clutches of these viruses which are virulent, attack both the body and the mind, and bring back a dharmic normalcy in all aspects of life. We beg you to wipe out, to uproot all the negativities of the mind of people, especially people who have lost their lives and livelihoods. We beg you also for the protection and all-round welfare of the selfless workers who are working already for the sake of the others. And we beg you for a boost to our economy, and we pray again and again for your powerful blessings to be able to remember your auspicious divine name, powerful name, knowing that the Nama makes the intellect sharp. Nama gets all our works done very well. And Nama destroys our past sins and will prevent us from doing further sins. Nama purifies our body and mind and takes us the royal path towards God. It's a very straight, simple, and fast path to God. So we also pray to you to be very good instruments in your hands so that we could run our life, everyday life, as an offering to you. And then we finally pray for that supreme blessing for complete purification, to be free from all limitations of the body and mind, to be able to see your vibrant, living presence everywhere, in everything and everyone, and all the time. We seek your blessings to be able to see your leelas in all happenings of life, and most importantly, to see your hidden grace even in the most wretched, disastrous sufferings of our life, knowing they happen by your will and they happen because they are necessary for our spiritual growth, for our greater good, for our closer kinship with you, and be grateful to you for it. And finally, Bhagwan, for all the species of the cosmos, at whatever level they are, we pray to you for their relief from the present state of miseries and for an uplift to a higher plane. We beg you again and again, intensely and soulfully, for eternal living in you, the eternal Supreme. Jai Yogi Ram Sarit.